Do you know anyone who has spent their entire life trying to deal with bad habits, but that person always fails? Some people try to overcome their addictions, such as alcohol, drugs, or other problems like obesity and procrastination, but they always return to their bad habits days later. You've probably met someone who said they were going to lose weight. This person started a super restrictive diet, cutting out everything they believed to be unhealthy, started running and going to the gym every day. But days later, when stress and the difficulty of balancing family, work, studies, and the diet set in, this initiative ended up being destroyed, and this person ends up returning to bad habits, perhaps in a worse way than before. No, this happens frequently, and maybe that person is you. But what if I told you there's a method combining several philosophies I've discussed here on the channel that can help you overcome any bad habit, including problems like obesity, alcohol, addiction, or dealing with procrastination? And best of all, it's a super simple system. This system combines several concepts such as Ikigai, Kaizen, Harahachi Bu, Wabi-sabi, and lastly, Gambaru. But I need to warn you that this system goes against what many productivity coaches teach about change. It goes against what motivational gurus try to sell us every day, and it will require you to do something that seems ridiculously small. So small that you'll think it doesn't work until it works. Before I show you exactly how this system works, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment on which habit you most want to change in your life. I receive many comments from people who have applied what we teach on this channel to their lives and have experienced real changes, and I am happy to read each of your feedback. Actually, the idea for this video came from a comment I read where a subscriber asked me for help overcoming obesity. So I made this content focusing more on obesity, but what I'm going to teach here can be applied to any area of your life. Thank you so much for your attention. I love all of you who follow me here. Now, back to the video. Chapter 1, The Day Everything Changed. Today, I'm going to tell the story of a man named Christopher. Christopher was 40 years old, weighed 142 kilos, and was dying slowly without realizing it. He wasn't a bad guy. He'd worked as a stock manager in a warehouse for 15 years. He woke up at 5 o'clock a.m. and got home at 7 o'clock p.m. 2 kids, a wife, bills to pay. The typical lower middle class guy who supports his family and forgets he has a body. His diet, whatever he had time to eat. Breakfast in the car, lunch at his office desk, dinner watching TV because he was too exhausted to sit at the table with his family. Weekends were pizza, beer, and the couch. He deserved it. After all, he worked harder than a mule. His body began to give the first signs that something was wrong, but he ignored them. Climbing the stairs was exhausting. Tying his shoes became an engineering challenge. He had to sit down, hold his breath, strain his stomach. The children asked to play tag, and he made up excuses. His wife suggested a walk in the park, but he was too tired. But you know what hurt the most? It wasn't the numbers on the scale. It was the look in his 7-year-old daughter's eyes when she stopped asking him to play. She had learned that her father didn't play, and Christopher saw that, felt that, and did nothing because he had already tried to change before. 3 times he went to the gym for 2 months, but stopped. He followed a low-carb diet for 3 weeks, but gave up. He went for a morning run for 5 days, but stopped that, too. He had arrived at that dangerous place where most people die without dying. Acceptance of defeat. That's just how I am. I've always been fat. It's my genetics. My metabolism is slow. I don't have time until it... Mind. My father was weak. His wife entered the room. She didn't say anything. She just hugged him, and then she said, "You need help, Chris." Really? On Sunday morning, he called the only friend who had lost weight and kept it off. A guy named Marcus who had lost 30 kilos and looked different, not just thinner, more complete. Marcus, I need help. Did you go to the doctor? Did you take any medicine? How did you do it? Marcus paused. I did go to a doctor, yes, but not the kind of doctor you're thinking of. He didn't give me medicine. He gave me a philosophy. Philosophy doesn't make me lose weight, Marcus. Chris, You're wrong, Marcus replied. Chapter 2. The Japanese Doctor. The following Tuesday, Christopher sat in a minimalist consultation room that didn't look like a doctor's office. No anatomy posters, no hospital smell, just a wooden table, 2 chairs, and a huge window overlooking the garden. Dr. Tishi Yamamoto entered about 65 years old, thin, erect posture, calm movements. He didn't look like a doctor. He looked more like a monk. Christopher, tell me what brought you here. Chris told him everything. The weight, the tiredness, the children, the shame, the flower bed. When he finished, he expected to hear about diet, exercise, blood tests. Dr. Yamamoto didn't turn on his computer. He didn't take out any prescriptions. Simply said, tell me something. How many times have you tried to lose weight? 3, 4, maybe. And how long did each attempt last? 2 months at most, usually a few weeks. Dr. Yamamoto nodded. Do you know why it failed? Christopher started the list that everyone talks about. Lack of time, genetics, metabolism. The doctor raised his hand, interrupting. No, you failed because you tried to win a 40-year war in a 2-month battle. Your body took 40 years to reach this weight. Your mind took 40 years to build these habits. And you think you can undo that in weeks? Silence. Christopher, I'm going to make you a proposition. I'm going to ask you to make a change today. A change so small that you'll think I'm kidding you. So small that it will seem pointless. Do you accept? Chris was desperate. I'll accept anything. Great. From today onwards, every day when you wake up, before doing anything else, you're going to drink a glass of water. That's all. A glass of water. Christopher waited the rest. He didn't come. Just that. A glass of water. A glass of water every day for 2 weeks. Nothing else. You can continue. A glass of water every day for 2 weeks. Nothing else. You can continue eating pizza, drinking beer, watching TV. Just add that glass of water in the morning. Doctor, with all due respect, I need to lose about 50 kilos. A glass of water won't do it. You're right. A glass of water isn't going to make you lose 50 kilos. Dr. Yamamoto leaned forward. But it will do something much more important. It will prove to you that you can keep a promise to yourself. And that proof is the only thing you really need right now. Christopher left the doctor's office confused. He paid $200 for thing. Day 3. Also on day 7, something different happened. He woke up before his alarm clock and the first thing he thought was, where's my glass of water? His brain began to expect it. On the 14th, he returned to the doctor's office. Dr. Yamamoto asked, did you drink water every day? How do you feel? Honestly, a little silly. I didn't lose any weight, but I don't know. I did it. I did something for 2 whole weeks. The doctor smiled. You've just learned the first principle of Japanese philosophy that will change your life. It's called Kaizen, continuous improvement through microscopic changes. You didn't try to climb the mountain all at once. You just took one step, and then another, and then another. But doctor, a glass of water. It's not about the glass of water, Christopher. It's about proving to your brain that change is possible. That you're not the type of person to give up. Now, tell me, are you ready for the next step? What it is? Keep drinking water in the morning, but now add one more thing. Put half the food you would normally put on your plate. Just half. You can have seconds if you're still hungry after 20 minutes, but first half. Christopher remained silent. This too seemed small, but he had been drinking water for 14 days straight. He had proven something to himself. Okay, I'll do it. Great. We'll talk again in 3 weeks. Chapter 3. The Hidden Philosophy. What Dr. Yamamoto didn't explain at that moment, but which Christopher would gradually discover, was that he wasn't just changing habits. It was being introduced to a complete philosophical system that the Japanese have used for centuries. Kaizen was just the gateway. Continuous improvement of 1% per day. The idea that you don't need to be perfect tomorrow. You just need to be 1% better than today. And if you improve 1% per day for a year, you don't improve 365%. You improve 3,778%. It's exponential math. One of the secrets behind introducing these small habits is that they are keystone habits. Angular habits. Keystone habits. These are habits that, when implemented, trigger a cascade of positive changes in other areas of your life. They act like a lever or the first amino. By focusing on improving just that core habit, you begin to have small wins that almost automatically facilitate and boost the creation of other good habits. But there were other philosophies at work there that Christopher was not yet aware of. The first week with half the food on his plate was brutal. He would finish eating and just stare at the stove, wanting more. His brain was screaming, "You're still hungry. Eat more." But then he remembered Dr. Yamamoto's words. Wait 20 minutes. If you're still hungry, eat more. Do you know how many times in 3 weeks he went back to eat more after 20 minutes? Twice. Because his body wasn't hungry, it was just spoiled. Dr. Yamamoto was teaching him about Harahachi Bu without mentioning the name yet. It's the Okinawan principle of eating until you're 80% full. The idea is that your stomach takes 20 minutes to signal to your brain that it's satisfied. If you fill your plate and eat quickly, you go past that point and only realize it when you have a stomach ache. At the next appointment, Christopher had lost 3 kilos. It's not about the weight. Dr. Yamamoto said, it's about the direction. You're going in the right direction. For the first time in 40 years, your body is moving where you want it to go. I feel different, Christopher admitted. Not just lighter. I feel in control because you are now the next step. You're going to add movement, but not in the way you're thinking. Music, no. ULL walk from your door to the mailbox and back every day in the morning after your water before getting in the car for work. Christopher laughed. Doctor, the mailbox is 20 minutes. Do this every day. The following week, Christopher started going to the corner store. Not because the doctor told him to, because his daughter wanted him to. And for the first time in years, he succeeded. Without shortness of breath, without back pain, it could do Italiano. By the end of the second month, he had lost 8 kilos. But the real change wasn't on the scale. It was in the mirror. Not in the body he saw, but in his eyes. There was a light there that hadn't been there before. During the consultation, Dr. Yamamoto asked, Christopher, tell me something. Why are you doing all this? To lose weight? No. Why are you really doing this? What is the underlying reason? Christopher thought for the first time. He really thought, I want to see my children grow up. I want to walk my daughter down the aisle someday. I want to have quality time with my wife. I want to feel worthy of myself. Dr. Yamamoto nodded. That's your Ikigai, your reason for living. The Japanese believe that everyone has an Ikigai, a purpose. Your Ikigai isn't about losing weight. It's about being present for your family. Weight is just the obstacle between you and your purpose. That changed everything, because now when Christopher didn't want to wake up early, he didn't think about water or dieting. He thought about his daughter holding his hand. When he wanted to fill his plate, he didn't think about calories. He thought about walking her down the aisle. Purpose is not motivation. Motivation fades. Purpose is fuel that never runs out. Chapter 4. The first full. 3 months later, Christopher had lost 14 kilos. His clothes started to feel loose. Co-workers asked what he was doing. Just a few minor adjustments, he replied. But then came Thanksgiving Day. You know how it is. A table full of food. Turkey, mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie, pecan pie. The whole family gathered, everyone serving enormous plates, and Christopher tried to fit half of it on his plate. His mother asked, Is that all? Are you sick? The brother-in-law? Dude, it's Thanksgiving. Forget the diet for a day. Social pressure is a silent killer of change. Everyone wants you to go back to being who you were because your transformation makes them uncomfortable about who they are. Christopher gave in. He filled his plate. He ate until he couldn't eat anymore. He felt that horrible sensation of being too full of having failed. That night, he looked in the mirror and thought, "Damn it, I broke this streak. I'm going to give up like I always do." The next morning, he didn't want to drink water. He didn't want to walk. The old pattern of since I've already failed, there's nothing I can do was returning. But then he remembered something Dr. Yamamoto had said that he hadn't understood at the time. You will fail. Fail. And when that happens, you will find out if you have truly changed. He picked up his cell phone and texted the doctor. "Doctor, I ate too much yesterday. I ruined everything. I don't know if I can go on." The reply came in 2 minutes. "Come to the office this afternoon." Christopher sat in his usual chair expecting a scolding or a motivational speech. Dr. Yamamoto came in, sat down, and said, "Tell me what happened." Chris explained everything. Thanksgiving, the pressure, the failure, the urge to give up. "And did you drink water this morning? And did he walk?" "I walked. So you didn't fail." Jew relapsed several times. At Christmas, he overeat. On his son's birthday, he ate too much cake. On a stressful weekend, he went back to pizza and beer. But every time he stumbled, he returned. Water in the morning, half on the plate, walk. And something happened. The falls started to become smaller, less frequent, because each time he returned, his brain learned, we don't give up anymore. We just keep going. By the 6th month, he had lost 23 kilos. But the real transformation wasn't in the weight. It was the moment he went downstairs to play Lego with his son and then got up on his own, effortlessly, without thinking. It was the night his wife suggested a walk after dinner and he said yes, without hesitation. It was Saturday when his daughter asked to play tag and he chased her around the yard laughing, sweating, and full of life. The wife watched from the kitchen window and smiled, because the man she had married was returning. Not his body, his essence. Chapter 5. The question that changes everything. By the 9th month, Christopher had lost 35 kilos. He wasn't just walking to the corner anymore. He was walking 30 minutes. By the 18th month, Christopher had lost 52 kilos. He weighed 90 kilos. He wasn't the thinnest man in the world, but he was healthy, strong, present. His daughter turned 9. They had a party in the park. The children were running around playing tag, and for the first time, Christopher ran after them. One of the parents at the party asked, "Dude, how did you lose all that weight?" Christopher considered talking about Japanese philosophies, about Kaizen, Ikigai, but he decided not to complicate things. One step at a time, literally. That night after the party, he was lying in bed with his wife. She said, "Do you know what I love most about your transformation?" "What?" "It's not that you lost weight. It's that you came back. The man I married, the father our children deserve. You were here physically, but you weren't present. Now you are." Christopher held her hand. "I almost gave up so many times." But he didn't give up. "No, I haven't given up." A Stanford University researcher studying habit formation discovered that most changes fail not because people are weak, but because they try to change too quickly. The human brain is programmed to resist drastic changes because it interprets them as a threat. But when you introduce microscopic changes, less than a 1% difference per day, the brain doesn't trigger the resistance alarms. You essentially hack your own nervous system. Another study in longevity in Okinawa revealed the populations that live the longest in the world do not follow radical diets. They follow simple principles. Moderation in eating, constant movement, a clear purpose in life, acceptance of imperfection, and perseverance in the face of difficulties. These 5 characteristics appear consistently in all blue zones of the world. A neuroscientist at the University of London who studies self-discipline explains, willpower is a limited resource. It depletes throughout the day. But when you transform behaviors into identity, when you stop trying to do and start being someone who does, you no longer need willpower. The behavior becomes automatic because it's part of who you are. But here's the part nobody tells you about real transformation. Christopher didn't stop at losing 52 kilos Bikausi. The system he learned wasn't about losing weight. It was about building a life. In his second year, he applied Kaizen to his career. One small improvement per day at work. He was promoted to regional manager because he started applying the same principles. In their third year, he applied to the relationship. He discovered that his purpose with his wife wasn't just being married. It was to build a partnership where they both grew together. They started taking nighttime walks together, having real conversations, planning for the future. Their daughter is 12 years old now. The other day she said, "Dad, do you remember when you couldn't play with me?" "I remember." "Me? Too. But you know what I remember most? The day you started walking with me to the mailbox. That's when I knew you were going to be okay." Christopher realized at that moment that his transformation hadn't been just his. It had been the whole family's. Because when you change, you give permission for everyone around you to change. Too. His son, who is now 14, started waking up early to exercise without anyone telling him to, because he saw his father doing it. His wife started meditating because she saw that change was possible. Transformation is not contagious. It is permissive. It grants permission. Chapter 7. The complete system. At 2 years after that first consultation, Christopher weighed 88 kilos. He maintained a weight loss. Still drinks water every morning. He still walks every day. He still eats until he's 80% satisfied. Because that's who he is. But the craziest part, he trains other people now. People from work see his transformation and ask, "How did you do that?" And you know what he says? "Let me ask you something. What's the smallest change you can make today?" People always respond with something like, "Oh, I can start going to the gym." No, smaller than that. Much smaller. Like what? Like drinking a glass of water in the morning. The person laughs. That's all. That's all for 2 weeks. Then we'll talk again. 9 out of 10 people do and come back to talk to him because they're still looking for the magic solution. The 21-day diet. The lightning fast transformation. The miracle pill. But what about that 10th person? That person comes back in 2 weeks and says, "I drank water every day and you were right. I feel different." And Christopher knows this person understood. This person will succeed. Dr. Yamamoto retired. During Isla's consultation, he told Christopher, "You know, you never needed me, right? Like this. Everything I taught you was already inside you. I just gave you permission to go slowly, to be imperfect, to keep going even when it was difficult. But the strength was always yours, Doctor. I literally couldn't get up from a squatting position years ago. Physically, no, but mentally, you got up from a squatting position every single day of your life. Every day you woke up, went to work, supported your family, endured the tiredness, the frustration, the shame. You always had Gambaru. You just didn't know you had him. That broke Christopher. So all I needed to know was, you needed a system that respected who you were. A system that didn't demand you become a superhero overnight. A system that accepted your humanity, your imperfection, your weariness, and used all of that to foster transformation, not against it. The Japanese philosophies I taught you aren't about being perfect. They're about being human and continuing to be human every day without stopping. Christopher embraced Dr. Yamamoto that day with a feeling of immense gratitude because that man hadn't saved his life. He had given it back to him. Chapter 8. The Legacy. There's a photo on Christopher's living room wall. He weighs 142 kilos, sitting in a plastic chair in the backyard, watching his children play. Not participating, who's watching. And next to that photo, there's another one. Him weighing 88 kilos, on the floor, playing Lego with his son, his daughter jumping on his back, laughing. His wife took that second photo without him knowing, and when he saw it, he asked, "Why did you take that picture?" She replied, "Because this is the moment I've been waiting for 10 years. the moment you came back. But do you know what the most important part of this whole story is? It's not that Christopher lost 52 kilos. It's not that he reversed type 2 diabetes. It's not that he got a promotion at work. His daughter, who is now 12 years old, recently told her friend at school, "My father is the most disciplined person I know," because she grew up watching him drink water every day, watching him walk every day, watching him stumble, fall, get up, and keep going. She grew up seeing that transformation isn't about motivation. It's about identity. And when she's 20, 30, 40, and life gets tough, she'll remember. She'll remember that her father proved that change is possible. One small choice at a time, one day at a time, forever. This is the real legacy. Not the transformed body, but the living proof that you can be who you want to be. You just need the patience to build that person one brick at a time. Now let me ask you something. You've made it this far in the video. That means you're looking for something. Maybe it's losing weight, like Christopher. Maybe it's another addiction. Maybe it's just the feeling that you're not living the life you should be living. You might be thinking, this doesn't work for me. My situation is different, more difficult, more complicated. You're right. Your situation is different, but the system is the same. Because no matter what your addiction is, your bad habit, or the life you want to change, the problem is never a lack of information. You know you need to eat better. You know you need to exercise. You know you need to sleep more, drink less alcohol, and be more present. You know all of this. The problem isn't knowing, it's doing. And you can't do it because you're trying to do everything at once. You're trying to become a different person tomorrow. You're trying to win a 20-year war in a 21-day battle. And every time you try, you fail. And every time you fail, you prove to yourself that you can't do it. And then it becomes your identity. I am a person who can't do it. I am a person without discipline. I am a weak person. But you're not. You're just using the wrong system. The system I presented here isn't about rapid change. It's about permanent change. You don't need 30 days of transformation. You need 30 years of consistency. And consistency only happens when it's simple enough to sustain us through the bad days. So, let me give you the same challenge that Dr. Yamamoto gave to Christopher. Choose one change, the smallest one possible. So small that you'll feel like an idiot doing it. So small that it seems like it won't make any difference at all. A glass of water in the morning, 5 push-ups before bed, 1 minute of meditation, a page from a book, anything. But it has to be so small that you can't use an excuse not to do it. And do this for 2 weeks. Don't try to add anything else. Don't try to speed things up. Just do this one small thing every single day for 14 days. And when you get to day 14, you will have proven something to yourself. Not that you can lose weight or quit smoking or change your life, but that you can keep a promise to yourself. And that proof is the only thing you really need. Because when you know you can keep a small promise, you know you can keep any promise. Then you add another small change, and then another, and then another. And before you know it, you're a different person. Not because you tried to change, but because you built a new identity, one microscopic choice at a time. Christopher took a few years. Maybe it will take you 3. It doesn't matter, because time will pass anyway. The question is, in 5 years, will you be in the same place, looking in the mirror with shame? Or will you be looking in the mirror and seeing someone who fulfilled every promise they made to themselves? Ikigai gives you purpose. Kaizen gives you method. Harahachi Bu gives you moderation. Wabi-sabi gives you compassion. Gambaru gives you strength. You don't need them all at once. You just need to start with one thing today. And when you stumble, because you will, you don't give up. You just get back up. Because practice isn't about never falling. It's about always getting back up. If you enjoyed this content, if it helped you in any way, I invite you to comment below what the smallest change you're going to make starting today is. Don't tell me your complete transformation plan. Just tell me the first thing, the smallest one, the one you're going to do tomorrow morning. Because when you write it publicly, You've just made your statement. You've turned an idea into a commitment. And public commitment is where change begins. I'll make an effort to read every comment, and in 2 weeks, I'll come back here to see who followed through, who drank the water, who did the push-ups, who took the first microscopic step towards becoming the person they want to be. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. If you've watched this far, thank you so much for your attention and your time. This means you are truly committed to your transformation. See you in the next video. And remember, be present, walk with honor, follow the path.